Welcome back to Origami Snowman. My name is Matt. Had a weird weekend. Regular Timmy, 666, my eldest humanoid child, turned 20. 20 years old. Yep. I don't know who I'm more impressed with. Him for staying alive, or me for keeping him alive, or his mother for not killing either of us. So, yep. So that's weird. I mean, it's weird for three people. It's weird for me because 20 seems way too old for one of my kids. It seems weird for my wife because she saw every dumb decision he's made and he's still managed to be a relatively successful human being. And it's weird for him because it's always weird when you're, a different year. Anyway. Yeah. So that was fun. That was a good weekend. We played, we hung out. Like, we don't usually hang out, not because we don't like him, but because he's a pretty private guy and he just kind of likes to have his time to himself. But we hung out, we watched movies, we played video games, it was a good weekend. Nice time. What a time to be 20. And then everybody's talking about the eclipse coming up. Let's be honest. 2024 is gonna be a weird year. That should have been a hole in one. It's gonna be a weird year. Okay, so first of all, we start out with, I think I may have already talked about this. Second warmest winter on record here where I'm at. Second warmest. That's something to be concerned with and aware of. And then a leap year, which didn't catch us by surprise. We all saw it coming. We knew 4 years ago that it was going to be a leap year. It was pretty predictable. The mathematicians made us all very aware. And then we have this total eclipse coming up, which is freaking everybody out, which is kind of hilarious. It's just a natural thing that happens. They knew it was coming. They've known for a long time. Nobody's really surprised. We knew it would be here since the last eclipse. We knew, and so nobody freak out. And then the whole thing with the cicadas. Cicadas cycle in 17 and 13-year broods, which means the eggs hatch, they burrow down into the ground and attach themselves to the roots of trees where they feed. It does no harm to the trees. Then either if it's a 17-year cicada or a 13-year cicada, at their appointed year, they emerge. And then we get the weird, creepy alien. Sorry, I didn't see that coming. The weird, creepy alien babies that hug the trees and then inexplicably abandon their exoskeletons, which is upsetting. And then we have beautiful cicada noises in our trees for a couple weeks, months, I don't know, for a while. And then they go away after they lay eggs and die. So, this year, that 17 year and that 13 year, it's the same year. And it happens like once every 200. That was a terrific shot. It happens once every 225 or 52. It happens infrequently. And it just so happens to be this year. So, oh my good grief. So basically what we're seeing the plagues against Israel. Nope, Egypt. Dang it. I get my Bible stories that got all mixed up. So I feel like someone is trying to free their people. Maybe, did I already make that joke? I don't know. It's hard to tell. So many of my jokes are so funny, they're worth telling twice. So 2024, weird year. Timmy turns 20 and the rest of the world ends. So it's just something to be aware of. Look out the window, but be prepared to move away from the window. Does that make sense? Yeah. Yeah. Also, I think more importantly, here's what we got to talk about. We got to talk about Stormlight Archive, you guys. Brandon Sanderson, I know. How much more can I talk about this guy? Do I have a man crush on Brandy Sandy? Not really. He's not really my type of guy. Like, in high school, if I saw him sitting at the lunch, like in the lunchroom, I would have gone and like hung out with him. Like, I look at him and I think, oh yeah. He can talk about Super Nintendo. Yeah, I mean, like you just know. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, he's my type of people, but I don't know that I have like a man crush on him. He's just a really good writer. So, he, yeah, Stormlight. I just finished the second book. Boy, oh boy. The first book, The Way of Kings, was great. The second book, something about something, I can't remember. Words of Radiance, yep. That, good grief. It kind of had, like, I keep doing that same shot where I lip out, whatever, it's fine. He's really good at setting up obviously hopeless scenarios, and then the heroes come in and save the day. He's good at that, and he makes it like exciting every single time. But I have some predictions. I suspect that he's doing that to lull us into a false sense of security by establishing a routine. Okay? He's establishing a routine, and we're like, eventually everything's going to be hopeless. The hero's going to come in, and we're going to be like, oh, I can't wait to see, the thing. I don't want to spoil anything, you guys. And then the guy will show up with the thing and we'll say, all right, buddy, time to start glowing. And then the glow won't happen. And then we think, oh, we've seen this before. It's cool. At the last minute, right? It's going to, and then nope. And then the dead, and then the sad, and then the anger. And I'm excited for that. I like it when writers, like, when they trick you. I like that. I like when you read and you read a moment and you can almost hear the author somewhere in the ether of the universe going, you know what I mean? If you've read the Dark Tower series by Stephen King, the ending, you'll know exactly what I mean. I loved the ending of that. A lot of people didn't. Made a lot of people really, really mad. Like, I knew a guy who was like, I will never read another Stephen King novel ever again. And I was like, why? Did you not enjoy it? He liked everything but the ending. And I'm like, well, then I don't know what the problem is. Just reread it, but stop before you get to the ending. In fact, Stephen King even gave readers an out. At one point, right at the end of the book, this is 7 books, and it's epic. It is epic, the Dark Tower series. Right before the end of the book, he says, you may want to stop reading now. You may want to go ahead and just close the book and believe whatever you want to believe. He gives the reader an out. He warns them. And then they keep reading. Oh, it's great. I can't tell you what happens. It wouldn't make any sense anyway. So, I love endings like that. So I kind of am hoping that Brandy Sandalwood is going to pull the rug out from under us and then chuckle to himself. Hey. I know I certainly would. If I had the courage to write a novel that was impassioned, where the characters like strive for greatness and where you really hope they achieve it, and all that stuff. If I had the courage to write a novel like that, I hope I would also have the courage to, prank everybody with the ending. Nice, like, troll everybody. I wish I could do that. However, I am a coward, and all of my characters, basically, they have very similar traits, and that is they are downtrodden. Yeah. And there's nobody easier to build up than people who have been beaten down. Because everybody likes to see the little guy win. That's how it is. And that's how all of my characters they have supreme bullies. They have just the worst people to deal with, and it's a cowardly way to write because it like it's gonna land. Does that make sense? Yeah. So they're good weekend reads, but they're not like the kind of books that like start a fandom over. Do you know what I mean? Nobody's on Amazon being like, is there a Blood Pines t-shirt I could wear so other Blood Pines fans can find me? No, it's not how it is. So there is, however, a Secretly Kings playlist on Spotify. Feel free to check that out. Lots of cussing, just so you know. All right, moving on. Oh, that was great. I mean, it was the fifth shot, but I mean, it's fine. I want to keep talking about the second book in Stormlight. Really just talk about Stormlight. So I have the trade paperback. No, not trade paperback. What did I just do? I have the mass market paperback of the first 3 books in Stormlight. It will be 5 books. At the moment, it's only 4. However, these books are monsters. The first book is like, I'll say 1,258 pages, maybe. The second book, 1,310. The third book, wait, am I counting right? The third book is 1,299. These are big books, and they require a lot of time and a lot of attention because there are so many names and none of them are like Bob. You know what I mean? Like, there's a character named Gaz who is he's a major part of the first book. Well, he ends up like not in the book anymore, like he wanders off or whatever. And when he's reintroduced in the second book, I had forgotten him. I didn't remember that name. So, like, there's just a lot. Oh, for crying out loud. It's a big book, and take notes if you're going to read it. It will help you. Not like every note, but like keep a glossary of characters, maybe? I don't know. So anyway, I love it. It normally I would say not my type because I don't like these complicated fantasy books usually, but the writing is so good. It really is good. And the characters, they're not, I don't say downtrodden. Yeah, one of them is, I mean, they all have trauma. They all have, like, they face impossible odds and they overcome, and it's terrific. But they're not like these meek, mild little guys who have finally had enough and decide to stick up for themselves, which that's my favorite kind of character. But they, it's not like, when Sam goes after Frodo after Shelob has paralyzed him, and then he leaves because he thinks he's dead, and then he finds out he's alive, but the orcs have him, and so Sam takes Sting. He takes the light of was it Elendil? I think that's what it was called. And he takes the ring, and he goes into the tower, and he kills all the orcs. And it's like that moment where you're like, did Sam do what? I'm sorry, excuse me? Such a great moment. Those are the kind of stories I like. I would have written a whole freaking novel about that moment. But Stormlight has great characters. It has amazing hero moments. It is, however, exhausting. I mean, it is exhausting. Can I tell you how exhausting it is? I have 3 more Brandon Sanderson novels on the shelf behind me right now that need to be read. But I don't have it in me. I need to take a break. I need a palate cleanser. And so, for a little light reading, I have chosen John Steinbeck's East of Eden. It's only 600 pages. So, that's a long weekend, right? If you've never read John Steinbeck, you should definitely read John Steinbeck, by the way. The first sentence in the second paragraph of this book, the first time I tried to read it, it broke me. And I don't know why. I don't know why. It's just, look it up. I'm not kidding. I'm not going to tell you what it is. But for whatever reason, it blindsided me out of nowhere. I was like, oh, I didn't know. I didn't know that this was the kind of book that was going to like echo like the amazing thoughts that I have but can't hear because of all the other noise in the world. Whew. So I literally got to the first sentence of the second paragraph and was on the verge of tears and had to put it down. And I read something else and this was last year, I think, and I've just now worked up the nerve to try it again. I got through chapter 1, so we're on a roll. But yeah, I think it's important to have, like, to be well-rounded, okay? Whether in your musical taste, in your film taste, in your book tastes, whatever. I think it's important to, if not enjoy other genres, at least be aware of other genres. Inversely, I also think it's very important to not force yourself to participate in a thing you don't enjoy. Okay? If someone says you have to read this book, okay, if you want to give it a shot, that's great. But if you get, a third of the way through and you're like, I don't like this, it's hard to read, it's kind of bumming me out. If you don't want to finish it, don't finish it. If you're not reading it for a class or something like that, if you're reading it for entertainment, if you're not entertained, put it down. If you're reading it for enlightenment, if you're like, this is hard for me, but it's a goal and I need to like see this through to the end, okay, fine. I don't think you should feel obligated to, but again, some people do. Some people can't sleep well if they don't finish what they started. Me, I'm a quitter. I come from a long line of quitters. You just got to know what to quit. Oh boy. If you're writing a novel and it's not working out, you should be allowed to quit. Feel free to quit. Start over with something new. Or, you know what? Start over with the same characters and try having them do different things. But if it's not working out, feel free to quit. If you're baking, if you're making a sandwich and you're like, oh, you know what? This doesn't even look appetizing. Quit. You don't have to eat that thing. Put it away. Throw it out. Get rid of it. If you're building a deck on the back of your house, and you get everything, all the boards put together, you just, all it needs is, stairs and a railing and sanding and staining. You know what? And you get bored, quit. I'm kidding. Don't do that. That's what my dad did. The house I grew up in, we had a big deck on the back of our house, and never got finished. Never got finished. We had a lot of splinters. We got a lot of splinters from that deck because unfinished wood. It was just a mess. So some things you should finish for safety's sake. But if you're reading a book for entertainment and you're just miserable, put it away. Doesn't matter what everybody else says. It doesn't matter. And here's the other thing. If everybody says something is great and you are just like not seeing it, you're not wrong, by the way. You're not. You just have different tastes. Avatar, not the Airbender one, but the James Cameron one. Everybody freaking loved that movie. People lost their minds. People were going into depressions because this world of Pandora was so beautiful. I hated that movie. It was not entertaining. It was not interesting. It was very derivative. And derivation is one thing. Okay? Like, like we talked about Charles Dickens and A Christmas Carol. If you got to retell a Christmas Carol, fine, retell a Christmas Carol, but don't like take a very oh, that was so close. Don't take a very old story like Dances with Wolves, and bring in the white savior thing and all that. I didn't like it. It didn't make sense to me. It was just it was very predictable. I don't care how pretty it is. I just didn't. No, it just wasn't. It wasn't for me. Maybe though I was at a time in my life where I didn't care for these big budget action movies. Maybe that's what it was. Just yeah, it just didn't appeal to me. A lot of times, stories and movies that people love, I find myself really not super impressed with. The Da Vinci Code was one. That book was a scavenger hunt, but because he talked about art and religion, all of a sudden people were like, this is brilliant. I was like, it's not. It's just fancier Where's Waldo. And if they had gone into it, if I had been presented with this book and they said, okay, it's an escape room, it's a puzzle, I would have been like, okay, cool. That's fun. I'll read the heck out of that. But no, it was supposed to be this amazing thriller, and it was supposed to like shake the foundations of the church, and it was, they said all these, it just was like, I don't get it. I wasn't against it because of its religious posits. I was against it because it was just boring. It could have been fun. It wasn't. It leaned too much. It took itself too seriously. Oh my goodness. There's some bands that I just don't like. The Eagles. Everybody loves the Eagles. I don't care for the Eagles. My wife really likes the Eagles. I do not. I like Don Henley. Don Henley's solo stuff is crazy good. But I just don't like the Eagles. I don't know why. Now, do I think there's something wrong with me? Because everybody loves the Eagles, but Matt doesn't like the Eagles. Must be something wrong with Matt. Oh, there's almost certainly something wrong with Matt, but that does not contribute to my taste in movies and music and books. It's just something's done with my head. So, if you like a thing and nobody else likes it, it's fine. Keep liking your thing. If you dislike something that everybody else likes, like sushi, people love sushi. I'm convinced that people just say they like sushi. I don't know. I don't know, man. If you don't like a thing, you're fine. Don't like a thing. You don't have to make your whole identity about liking or disliking a thing. And some people, they want to. They want to be like, oh, you're the guy who ate sushi. Like they try to define us by our likes and dislikes. And okay, whatever. That's fine. They're just unfortunately never going to get past that. And so they don't ever get to know that amazing part of you that is amazing. They're just going to be hung up on your likes and dislikes, and they're going to miss out on all the crazy cool stuff that you got boiling down deep inside. I'm trying to remember where I was taught. Oh, Stormlight Archive. Good stuff. Don't check it out. That's a gamble. Start with Mistborn. If you like Mistborn, which you will love Mistborn, how could you not? It's incredible. Then Mistborn is a much less. It's a smaller commitment. It is a much smaller commitment. You can get right. You can read through that book in 4 days, without really stretching yourself too far. It's one of the books that makes you want to read it. Like when you're not reading it, you're thinking about reading it. And I love books like that. So start with Mistborn. And you'll know if you're into the, Brandon Sanderson. If you like that writing style, then good news. There's an awful lot of Stormlight for you to read. Now, that's not Mistborn and Stormlight. That's not all he's done. He's written a lot of other stuff. I haven't read any of it. I read a novella he did. Oh, actually, I did. I read a novella he wrote called The Emperor's Soul, which was amazing. And I read one of his, he calls it a secret project novel, where he just writes a novel but doesn't tell anybody he's writing a novel, and then just, hey guys, I wrote a novel, and everyone's like, he wrote a novel, and everything else he kind of like tells them about ahead of time. And this book is called The Frugal Wizard's Guide to Surviving Medieval England, and it's both sci-fi and fantasy, interdimensional travel. It's very quirky, very funny, an easy read. Check that one out. But Mistborn for sure. And then if you like Mistborn, if you like the writing style, then definitely buckle up and read Stormlight. Whew. Why do I talk about him so much? Because he's great? Because he's awesome? There are other great writers. Orson Scott Card used to be great until he, got a little old and out of touch. But that's fine. There's this guy, Matt Beers, who writes amazing novels. Yep, look him up on the Amazon and buy all of his books, except for Whithersoever. Don't buy Whithersoever because, boy, I wrote that in a depression, and it's real weird. And I need, maybe I've been working on a new novel. When I say working on, I mean thinking about obsessively, because that's how I write. I live with it. I live with these characters, and I try to figure out where they live, and I try to find what, what do they need out of life? Where are they headed? You know what I mean? Like, what drives them? How can I put them in a situation where they have to face their weaknesses, or they get to realize their strengths, or, you know what I mean? Like, you want that fun, whatever. So, I live with them. I think about these characters all the time. I've got one character in particular who's not even the main character of this story, or maybe she is. I don't know, but she's just interesting to me, and I want to give her the opportunity to do something great. So I have to, that could have been so amazing. There are 3 children walking down the sidewalk outside my house, which is strange because they should be in school. Oh, well. I mean, professional interest, I'm a bus driver. Somebody didn't do their job today. Otherwise, those kids would be at school. I'm just saying. So, yeah, I that's how I write a story. With the Blood Pines, I knew the title, I knew the premise, and I knew how it ended. That was it. That's all I knew going in. I didn't know the characters. I didn't know anything. And it made it really difficult. When I sat with that story in my head for 5 years. I didn't think about it as much as I could have. But when I sat down to write it, I took one false run at it, forgot I started that false run, and then, like a few months later, sat down and was like, I'm going to do this thing. And then wrote, came up with my characters, Parr and James, and Moral, although his part in the story is very weird. And that's how, then the story just kind of unfolded in front of me. Things happened I didn't intend. There were character traits that I didn't foresee until I wrote it and was shocked and amazed. Anyway, let's go ahead and stop here. I rambled long enough about stuff. It is hole 8,401. That is a great place to stop. I just got a hole in one. I'm doing fine. You're doing fine. I hope you guys have an absolutely amazing day. Thank you for humoring me, coming out, listening to me run my mouth about things. And I hope to see you soon in the next video. Thank you so much. Goodbye.